Hi there. Right, sorry it's a little bit noisy, just out in the garage again. It's Saturday. Just thought I'd have a look at the manifold. I painted last weekend. Thought we'd get it demasked and see how it came out. I think we can safely say that looks a lot nicer than it did, in a much more serviceable condition, ready for being put together. We also did the water pump as well. Actually demasked the bolts and the backside, so now we can see the rotor or impeller again, so that's ready to go on when we need it. I just thought, just for spurring things on, just thought I'd have a look and see what the carburetors would look like when they're fitted. Sort of how they'd look like. The spacer block isn't between the manifold and the carburetors at the minute, but it's just nice to see things kind of come together with the new bits or reconditioned bits. That looks pretty nice. Right, so I've got these two rocker covers for the Westminster project. It came with this one, this aluminium rocker cover, but I also acquired this steel pressed one, which came with the Austin Healey head, which I'm choosing to use over the galleried head, which we've talked about before. Maybe anyone from can enlighten me on this. I'm presuming that this came from a Van den Pla or Van den Plas. I don't know how you say it. However you say it, I do apologise. Because this has Princess on this tag here. It has the tappet clearance on this one, but it also has this secondary tag which says Princess. And I'm also presuming that because the engine that is in the car that I've got now isn't a matching engine numbers for the vehicle, because at some point it had what I assumed to be a reconditioned engine, because it was painted gold, which I think they did that at BMC when they reconditioned engines. They were a gold colour, so it's not the original engine, and I'm assuming that the engine actually probably came from a 3 litre Van den Pla, because it's the same engine. And obviously the regular Westminsters and Worsleys, I guess, would have just had this tin cover. So the idea is I'm not going to use this one because I don't particularly like it. It needs a lot of prep. It's not particularly good condition, and I'll have to paint it, and it means everything under the bonnet, the whole engine will be completely green, which I don't want. And being as it's not a standard engine, we're running a different cylinder head and different carbs, I thought we could play with this one, and hopefully with what equipment I've got, because this is aluminium, I'm hoping that by hand I'll be able to polish this up and make it look a lot better than it does, because it does look pretty gash. It's not very nice. So hopefully I can make it look better. So I don't profess to be an experienced metal polisher or anything like that. I'm just going to play and see with what I've got. I'll do a small section of it and just see how it comes out. So I have rags, I have Stocky Net, which is this cutting cloth here. I have the Auto Sol, it's the only metal cutting polish I have, which is really meant for, I guess, for cleaning aluminium. It's for chrome and aluminium, but this is slightly abrasive, so I have that. I was also going to try and get things going with some wet and dry, just to take off the surface corrosion and top, and just make it nice and smooth so it gives me something to polish. I'm assuming that's how you do it, so we shall find out. I shall give it a try. So far, let me move you a card. I've done a small end, or just the front end of the rocker cover. Obviously it's going to take a bit of working at, there's going to be a bit of elbow grease. But for what I've done just now, which I was just using the wet and dry 1200 grit and then the Auto Sol polishing compound, you can see that You can see the dull bit there, and the bit I've just done. That light doesn't probably do it justice, but you can see it is a little bit better, but it's going to take some work. I probably have to go over that bit I've done again with a bit more wet and dry, and using water as well. But that's what I'm finding seems to work. I'm not using it dry, I'm putting water with the wet and dry. The big scoring, some of the scores you can see were already in the casting. I think that's where it may have been made or polished before on a linishing machine or something, which was obviously how this would be polished if you took it to a professional, which I'm not, and obviously I'm on a budget, so I'm going to do what I can by hand. So it does seem to work. It does seem to work. I'm just going to keep going with it, and we'll see how far we get with it. I think I'm going to run out of wet and dry soon. I haven't got much. So far, as you can see with that, it's not looking too bad, but I think I need to use a coarser grit wet and dry, because that's a 1200 grit, and there's still sort of little imperfections in the aluminium due to corrosion and obviously being dinked and knocked over the years. So I'm thinking if I can just go with a little bit of a coarser grit, without obviously putting any large scratches in it or anything like that, and I'll try polishing again, but it's coming up okay. I think, you know, it'll look a hell of a lot better than it did, which is the main thing. And again, I'm doing it here by hand, so it's saving me a bit of money. All I've got to do is just supply what metal polish I've got, and the wet and dry. So, and just a bit of elbow grease, but I think maybe it looks better along there. That will look a lot better once it's all done. The plan for today, because I was working on the rocker cover there, trying to get it polished up. I've run out of wet and dry and sundries, and I can't get anything, so due to the coronavirus. So what I'm going to try and do is the engine block, which is here, needs moving, and it needs moving to here, so I can work on it a little bit easier. So that's the plan for today, moving stuff around and having a bit of a tidy up. Right, so I've had to have a bit of a tidy up, and I think we've, excused the cameramanship, but I think we've got something in the way of tidy. I've got the engine where I want it, up near the bench. Just rooting through things, I've actually found some components which I didn't realise I'd actually got. Got some studs, also some breather pipes and stuff for the engine over there, so that's pretty handy. Sorry about the video this weekend. It's been a little bit of a mess and a mismatch of things. Not a lot getting done really, apart from tidying the garage, as you may have not already seen. But I thought I would show you how understanding my wife is for the fact that I do actually have parts lying around in the house. So in the spare bedroom, there's the seats for the Westminster. Not in the best of condition, but they survive better in the house, because if they stay at the unit where the car's stored, or in the car itself, they do start to go a little bit mouldy. So I've taken those into the house to stop them deteriorating anymore, much to my wife's dismay. And the spare bedroom, or not, that was actually an office, has become a storage area for parts, due to the fact that sometimes the garage can get a little bit damp, and once I've prepped and cleaned things and degreased them, obviously they're going to start to rust. So yeah, so in the office, slowly but surely, most of the engine is appearing in here. So they've got there's the parts there. You can see that have all been prepped. There's a cylinder head in the background. The pistons we were working on the other week. There's a camshaft in that cardboard tube. There's a crankshaft under there in the shelving unit. So yeah, yeah, she's very understanding, luckily.